Greetings and salutations, everyone. I do hope everyone is doing well today. Welcome to this upload. Before we jump on into it, a couple quick links. As many of you may know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman, Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. These audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click the like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click that bell icon. And folks, please leave a comment and share the video. Why? Well, because these things, they really do help this channel to continue to grow and go. They definitely do matter, and I do appreciate them. And with that, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to today's upload, shall we? The following is an excerpt from an article which appeared in a UFO-related publication, Jeff. I don't know exactly who the author was of the article or which publication it appeared in, as my source sent it to me through Xeroxes with no references. I relate the information as received. Lear directed my attention to a large map of Nevada, which delineates all the areas which civilian maps leave as uncharted military reserves. Right in the very center is a place called Area 51. It is our most secret complex. There are 1,900 people there. It takes presidential clearance to work there, and they're ferried in by aircraft in the morning and taken out at about 5 o'clock in the evening. They have nothing to do with saucers. The people who work on the saucers go up later in the afternoon and go home at around midnight. The saucer facility is called S4. S4 is in the southwest corner of Area 51. Unfortunately, this facility and a similar setup near Dulce, New Mexico, may now belong to forces not loyal to the United States government or even the human race. It's horrifying for us to think all the scientists we think are working for us are actually controlled by aliens. A deal was made with them in the latter part of the 60s, probably a revisioning of the 1954 treaty, which was in turn an outgrowth of the secret Bulgarian Illuminati treaty with the Greys in 1933. In exchange for technology, we would cover up the existence of the aliens. Apparently, this agreement, engineered by the arm of government so covert that even the president may not be on the need-to-know list, also sanctioned the abduction of humans, which the aliens rationalized as an ongoing monitoring of a developing civilization. We asked only for a list of the abductees. In 1973, the deal soured. Hundreds of people, thousands, were being abducted that weren't on the list. In 1978 through 79, there was an altercation between us and the aliens, which they killed 44 of our top scientists and a number of our Delta Force who were trying to free them. I'm not sure where the altercation occurred. It could have been in Dulce, or it could have occurred in Groom Lake. Note, according to Bob Lazar, an underground facility below Groom Lake was the site of an intense firefight between the Greys and the United States military personnel after a human security officer had challenged an alien dictate not to enter a certain alien-controlled area with a loaded weapon, and was subsequently killed as the result of his challenge. This war was actually a massacre, according to MJ-12 Special Studies Group Agent Michael Wolff, since the first outbreak of violence in '75 resulted in during a demonstration of an antimatter reactor within an underground chamber. The Greys operating the demonstration ordered the human security officers to remove the bullets from their weapons. One security officer questioned this order, and just for having the audacity to question one of the Greys, apparently let their true colors show. It prematurely exposed the fact that they were not really the allies of the American government, but actually an occupational invasion force that had to maintain absolute discipline among the conquered species. This thing from out of this world decided that it would make an example out of those who questioned their orders, and its comrades followed suit. The Greys commenced to slaughter several dozen security personnel and scientists, although only one alien Grey died in the initial altercation. Thomas Castellello claims that another battle occurred below Dulce 4 years later in 1979, after several scientists who had discovered the horrible truth of thousands of human abductees in cold storage or imprisoned in cage-like enclosures in a deeper alien sector under Dulce, were themselves captured by aliens following this discovery. These were some of the best minds in America had to offer. As we will see later on, the Dulce Wars were somewhat more complex than this brief explanation may suggest. This battle, Lear claims, left us bereft of our own facilities and some of our best scientists. Ever since, we have attempted to create a counter-force to meet that alien challenge. The Strategic Defense Initiative was one such scheme. SDI, regardless of what you may hear, was completed 2 years ago. That was to shoot down incoming saucers. The mistake was that we thought they were coming inbound. In fact, they were already here. They're in underground bases all over the place. It seems that the aliens had constructed many bases without our knowledge, where they conducted heinous genetic experiments on animals, human beings, and improvised creatures of their own devising. In the battle, even in a conflict as unusual as the Dulce Wars, there are bound to be prisoners of war, or POWs. In his leading-edge report, researcher Val Valoran revealed the following. Dulce lab technician held in early November of '88, we received word that a scientist, son of BM, is now being held in an underground facility at Fort Wayne, Colorado. The underground base is located in southwest Colorado, near the Ute Mountains. The son apparently worked at a genetics lab under the Archuleta Mesa near Dulce, New Mexico, and finally grew disgusted with what he was observing. Subsequent probes into the retention of this person have yielded several interesting project names. His father, BM, apparently encountered 2 Nordic-appearing men in Pomona, California on the 22nd of October '88. Note, the Ute Mountain Indian Reservation border, which superimposes the southern border of Colorado, lies only a relatively few miles north of the Archuleta Plateau. It extends from that point westward along the border to the Four Corner area. Just across that border in Utah, another branch facility apparently exists, according to John Lear, where another Dulce scientist reported being held. Lear spoke with the father of this young scientist, referring to the father only as Mr. K, and attempted to locate the exact position on the base. Lear stated, "The son whose father I had met, who had passed away several years ago, is apparently being held in a base near or around Sleeping Ute Mountain. Sleeping Ute Mountain is in the extreme southwest part of Utah, near the Four Corner area of the Ute Reservation, south of Utah Highway 666, which also runs through Colorado and down through New Mexico. I don't remember how I came by the information, but it had to do with some research I was conducting in a search for Project Blue Light, based near Dolores, which I never found. In regards to Utah, there have been rumors of New World Order bases being constructed below southeastern Utah with contaminant facilities where dissidents are intended to be apprehended underground when and if the New World Order takes control of the United States. There are reportedly numerous such underground contaminant facilities throughout North America. The United States military is not the only force that has become involved with the war against the Greys. One of the major underground human forces who are very upset at the Greys over their violation of the territorial agreement and abuses and atrocities that have been committed against various intraplanetary human colonies include certain segments of the Talosian-Agharti Alliance, as well as some of their Sarian allies who are against the Greys. The following information was sent to a Utah researcher by Julia Sweet, a personal friend of Sharilla Dux, who is reportedly an Aghartian princess from Talos, the city complex below Mount Shasta. The central metroplex of Talos is said to consist of multi-level complex over 5 miles deep and at least 20 miles in circumference, which extends outward to suburban colony systems beyond. According to Sharula, Talos is a subterranean connections via tube shuttles to at least 100 other subterranean cities below North America, as well as cities below South America, such as the allied city of Pasig below the Mato Grosso region of Brazil. Many of these cities are maintained by ancient native North, South, and Central Americans. The following letter was dated February 7th, 1993. Last month I had your disc transcribed and read your materials in their entirety. Very interesting and full of well-cited facts. I appreciate your sense of groundedness when presenting your ideas. I am not familiar with the Sarian race, nor have I heard mention of them or Sharula or Adama. The Greys do come from time to time, and what has been communicated by the hierarchy is that they are indeed being asked forcibly, if necessary, to leave. The ousting process has been active for at least a year or so, and Adama has indicated that Los Alamos will be one of the last areas to clear out. There has been some Star Wars type of conflict of late, but the masters tell us not to worry about it, that they have things well in hand. Sharella's age is actually 267 years, although for Surface ID purposes she says she was born in 51. It helps where Social Security and passport purposes are concerned. You might want to update your materials to reflect her actual age. Note, during one lecture, Sharilla was asked what the Talosians were doing about the problem with the Greys. Sharilla stated that the Talosian Agharti silver fleets have confronted the Greys and told them to cease their abusive activities on the planet, to which the Greys responded that they have the right to continue their activities since the U.S. government has authorized their activities on Earth and in America. Are the Greys referring to the Nazi-backed CIA, NSA secret government, which has infiltrated America through murder and manipulation and established an alien interaction project without congressional consent? As if these green-blooded, pencil-necked, melon-headed, blood-sucking parasites who break treaties, violate human will, permanently abduct, and even kill humans for scientific or fun purposes, lie and deceive, disregard non-intervention ethics, destroy animals and property, manipulate the thoughts of the masses and their leaders against their conscious knowledge, ruin human lives on mental, emotional, physical levels, and literally feed off of human life, including that of our children, have any place to give such excuses. In a letter dated September 1990, written by Thomas E. Costello, and addressed to researcher Jason Bishop, the former Dulce base technical security officer, stated, "The room for the electromagnetic generator is nearly 200 feet in diameter. This circular room covers a 5th and 6th levels extremely west-south wing. Here is the intense magnetic generator. There is a buffering area made of ceramic and latex that is about 4 feet thick. In all directions, there are 5 entrances plus an escape trapdoor on the 6th floor. Each portal has a double door, one at the outside of the buffer and one at the inside of the buffer. The security is severe. Armed guards patrol constantly. And in addition to weight-sensitive areas, there are handprint and eyeprint stations. No one under Ultra 5 clearance is allowed near the portals. Here is the device that powers the transfer to atoms. No information is available to personnel with Ultra 7 or less. I was Ultra 7. Commander X, the mysterious and anonymous military intelligence officer and member of the Committee of 12, who has released sensitive information through Tim Beckley's New York City-based UFO organization, has stated, "The underground base outside of Dulce, New Mexico is perhaps the one most frequent referred to. Its existence is most widely known, including several UFO abductees who have apparently been taken there for examination and then either managed to escape or were freed just in the nick of time by friendly forces." According to UFO conspiracy buff and ex-naval intelligence officer Milton William Cooper, a true American hero right there, my friends, a confrontation broke out between human scientists and aliens at Dulce underground lab. The aliens took many of our scientists hostage. Delta Force were sent in to free them, but they were no match for the aliens' weapons. 66 people were killed during this action. As a result, we withdrew from all joint programs for at least 2 years. Centuries ago, surface people, some say the Illuminati, entered into a pact with the alien nation hidden within the earth. Commander X alleges the United States executive government in 1933 agreed to trade animals in exchange for high-tech knowledge and to allow them to use undisturbed underground bases in the western United States. A special group was formed to deal with the alien beings. In the 40s, alien life forms, or elves, began shifting their focus of operations from Central to South America to the United States of America. The continental divide is vital to these entities. Part of this has to do with the magnetics, or substrata rock, and high energy states, plasma. This area is very high concentration of lightning activity, underground waterways, and cavern systems, fields of atmospheric ions, etc. From my own intelligence work within the military, I can say with all certainty that one of the main reasons the public has been kept in total darkness about the reality of UFOs and aliens is that the truth of the matter actually exists too close to home to do anything about. How could a spokesperson for the Pentagon dare admit that 5 or 10,000 feet underground exists an entire world that is foreign to the belief structure we have had for centuries? How could, for example, our fastest bomber be any challenge for those aerial invaders when we can only guess about the routes they take to the surface, eluding radar as they fly so low, heading back to their underground lair? The Greys, or the EBEs, have established a fortress spreading out to other parts of the United States via the means of a vast underground tunnel system that has virtually existed before recorded history. Val Valerin of the Washington State-based Leading Edge Research Group made the following statements in one of the LER issues. Additional comments on alien bases. There is some confusion over the subject of alien bases in the United States. There seem to be many of them, but some of them seem to stand out functionally and operationally. It would seem that the main base is in New Mexico, with small detachments to Dreamland and Area 51 in general, Both those locations are used to test fly alien crafts, Project Grudge/Red Light. The main location for these test flight appears to be Area 51. The Excalibur program being developed at Los Alamos is designed to try to penetrate underground facilities, since they, the Greys, have entrenched themselves and no longer honor any dubious agreements which they have made with certain factions within the government. Scores of underground installations hold citizens of virtually every country on the planet in captivity. Researcher William F. Hamilton revealed the following details of the Dulce base, which were provided by former Dulce base security director, who is now missing and presumed deceased, Thomas Edwin Costello. In his book, Cosmic Top Secret, Hamilton writes, according to Thomas, the alien and androgyny breeder is capable of parthenogenesis at Dulce. The common form of reproduction is polyembryony. Each embryo can and does divide into 6 and to 9 individual cune, pronounced coney, siblings. The needed nutrition for the developing coney is supplied by the formula, which usually consists of human animal blood plasm. Abductee Krista Tilton confirmed much of what Thomas Costello has revealed. Krista described strange vats filled with eerie liquid where aliens were being grown. She stated that there were dozens of creatures in each womb, can't count tanks, maybe scores of hundreds, wombs submerged in a sort of yellowish liquid, looks thicker than water. Creatures float in amber-colored water. Womb is grayish. The creatures, or embryos, being bred were not human, had bluish-gray skin, and possessed 3 fingers and 2 toes. She confirmed that parts of the human bodies may be used in the fluid. She says that they used her to breed a human-like child, which is being held prisoner in an underground base. Val Valerin, through one of his leading-edge research reports, released the following of the so-called Dulce papers. The Dulce papers were comprised of 25 black and white photos, a videotape with no dialogue, and a set of papers that included technical information of the allegedly jointed occupied CIA alien facility 1 kilometer beneath the Archuleta Mesa near Dulce, New Mexico. Several persons were given the above package for safekeeping. Most of these given the package were shown what the package contained, but were not technically oriented and knew very little about what they were looking at. The following is written by one of these persons about what the papers contained. This person described the scenes that the videotape showed. What you see is what you get. I can't decipher what was written or drawn any more than you can. I pass these papers on only in the interest of getting the truth from other information I have. I believe the information herein is true. I believe the facility exists and is currently operational. I also believe that there are additional 4 facilities of the same type, one located a few miles to the southeast of Groom Lake, Nevada. What is the truth? Only God, MJ-12, and the aliens know for sure. Say papers, lots of papers, documents that discuss copper and molybdenum, also papers about magnesium and potassium, but mostly about copper. Lots of medical terms that I don't understand. A sheet of paper with charts and strange diagrams. Papers that discuss ultraviolet light and gamma rays. Papers that discuss color and black and white and how to avoid detection through use of certain colors. In addition to these papers, 3 are about 25 pictures, black and white, plus 1 videotape with no dialogue, all taken inside Dulce facility. These papers tell what the aliens are after and how the blood taken from cows are used. Aliens seem to absorb atoms to eat. Aliens put hands into blood sort of like a sponge for nourishment. It's not just food they want. The DNA in the cattle and humans are being altered. The type 1 creature is a lab animal. They know how to change the atoms to create a temporary, almost human being. It is made with animal tissue and depends on a computer to simulate memory, a memory that the computer has withdrawn from another human being. The almost human being is slightly slow and clumsy. Several so-called men in black have been described in this manner. Real humans are used for training to experiment and breed with these almost humans. Some humans are kidnapped and used completely, even atoms. Some are kept in large tubes and are kept alive in an amber liquid. Some humans are brainwashed and used to distort the truth. Certain male humans have a high sperm count and are kept alive. Their sperm is used to alter the DNA and to create a non-gender being called type 2. That sperm is grown some way and altered again, put in large wombs, many destroyed, certain are altered again and then put in separate wombs. They resemble ugly humans when growing, but look normal when fully grown, which takes only a few months from fetus size. They have a short lifespan, less than a year. Some female humans are used for breeding. Countless women have been suddenly miscarried after 3 months of pregnancy. Some never even knew they were pregnant. Others remember contact some way. The fetus is used to mix the DNA in types 1 and 2. The atomic makeup in that fetus is half human, half almost human, and would not survive in the mother's womb. It is taken at 3 months and grown elsewhere. Researcher William F. Hamilton is one of the first to write about the Mount Shasta subterranean colony of Talos, an underground city which is said to be the western branch of the subterranean kingdom that certain Asian fraternities refer to as Agharde network. Mr. Hamilton had personally met with the reputed crown princess of Talos, Sharella, as well as with some of her immediate relatives in the mid-80s during this investigation into the underground base activity in North America. Based on what Bill has learned, Talos might not be as safe as a place to live one might first have believed. Just like anywhere else on Earth, Talos itself suffers from its own conflicts between factions with different agendas, ranging from those who align themselves with the Andropalladian Federation and the non-interventionalist individuals' beliefs, and those who have taken sides with the Draco-Orion Empire and their interventionists, collectivists, philosophies. One might say that the scenarios taking place within Talos are somewhat of a counterpart of similar power struggles taking place within Cyrus and within the United States government. The same could hold true within the entire Agharde network, which has a center of activity under the Gobi Desert of Mongolia, and which allegedly contained 2 opposing factions during the Second World War period. The technologists, who secretly sided with the Allied forces, and the occultists who sided with the Axis. Since the Talos-Agharde alliance is tied in with the Ashtar collective, there are bound to be some internal conflicts within those cultures, just as there has been reported conflicts between the Orionite interventionists and the Palladian non-interventionists within the Ashtartan collective itself. All this is based on reports from contactee Israel Norkin and others that the Ashtar collective has been infiltrated by Draconian Orionite agents posing as ascending masters, and that a large segment of the Ashtar command has been commandeered by these interventionist collective forces and has split off from another large segment of the alliance, which has apparently sided with the Andropalladian Federation. What distinguishes the two is that the Andropalladian Federation believes in truth, individualism, and non-interventionalism, where the Draco-Orion Empire adheres to a philosophy of deception, collectivism, and intervention. According to contactee Alex Collier, these two factions are now or have been at war within the Sirius B system, and this conflict has entered the Sol system, with the Draconian Orion reptilians and their paraphysical overlords operating from Hale-Bopp Comet in collaboration with their rebel Syrian cultists who are operating from within the infiltrated segment of the Ashtar Collective occupying Hale-Bopp's so-called competition battleship, reputedly a former Syrian Alliance battleship, which some have dubbed Haile Mary. This Saturn-shaped object was seen and photographed by both Chuck Shamrock and as also seen in a leaked Hubble Space Telescope image, along with other objects that apparently jumped ship in the comet circling around the sun. This scenario seems to be reminiscent of a movie Life Force, which depicted a race of draconian-like alien vampires that entered the system undetected in the tail end of a comet. Alex Collier claims that the non-interventionalist from Pleiades and Andromeda constellations from Tucete, Procyon, and other systems have blockaded the Sol system near the orbital sphere of Neptune in order to keep the draconian Orionite forces out and keep them from interfering with our planet at this critical and vulnerable point in our planet Earth's history. According to Collier, otherworldly friends, there have been devastating battles with casualties on both sides that have been waged between Federation and Empire in this current war in heaven, involving the Sol system, and also in one that was waged shortly before the Sirius system, a war that has gravitated from Sirius to our own Sol system. So pray for our friends out there who are risking their lives for our sakes, and is the very least we can do. William Hamilton, incidentally, has voiced his concern that Sharulla, being a member of the ruling class of Telos, seems to be involved in this current conflict taking place between the two Ashtarian factions, the Draco-Orion faction and the Andropleidian faction, although just how this affected her own personal bias is unclear. This may also hold true with the entire Melchizedek order, which has a major presence in Talos, in the Saturn moon-based cities, in Sirius, in Arcturus, and elsewhere. Most of the misled Syrian cultists are being led to believe that the New World Order is being orchestrated for the purpose of establishing world peace and laying the groundwork to usher in planetary ascension into higher dimensions in a harmonious and orderly fashion. They forget, however, the history of the Atrocytes have followed the ancient Bavarian Roman cults who are promoting the New World Order and their reptilian hosts in Draconis and Orion, the massacres of Lyra, Rigel, and Procyon being a few examples. If you don't know what I'm talking about at this point, you will be by the time I finish this email. In short, the Draconians and Orions are psychologically and emotionally manipulating their cultic human followers in Sirius B, the Bavarian, who are tied in with the dark side of the Ashtar Collective to establish a global government which they intend to annex to their Luciferian interstellar Empire Collective. William Hamilton himself has gained a great deal of intelligence on secret government's underground bases, many of which are, as of this writing, under the control of the collaboration of those military industrialists who have sold out the humanoid reptilian collaborators from Draconis, Orion, and Sirius B, who are more or less given free rein within the secret government's underground network. In an article which appeared in Patrick O'Connell's Trends and Prediction Analysis, Newsletter Volume 6, number 2, July 1990 issue, Hamilton stated the cover-up was initiated soon after the Roswell, New Mexico crash. We wanted to know who they are, why they are here, how their technology worked. The cover-up became a matter of national security, a blanket word covering secrecy and deception. The cover-up involved secret organizations within our government, such as MJ-12, PI-40, MAJI, Delta, and Jason Scholars, and known intelligence organizations such as Naval Intelligence Air Force Office of Special Investigations, the Defense Investigative Service, CIA, NSA, and more. It involves think tanks such as RAND, the Ford Foundation, Aspen Institute, Brookings Institute. It involves corporations such as Bechtel, GE, ITT, Amoco, Northrop, Lockheed, and many others. It involves secret societies who may be hidden bosses of the orchestrated events. Economic collapse, wars, assassinations, conspiracies to manipulate and control humans, and thereby to exercise enormous power over the density of the human race. The Illuminati, Masons, Knights of Malta. The individual players are too numerous to list. The whole of this conspiracy forms an interlocking nexus. The goal is said to be one world government dictatorship. The underground nation, the RAND, held a deep underground construction, indicated the plans were hatched during the 50s to build underground bases, laboratories, and city complexes linked by stupendous network of tunnels to preserve and protect the ongoing secret interests of the secret societies. These secret societies made a pact with the alien entities in order to further motivate domination. Actually, as it turns out, the secret societies, are now being dominated by the aliens. One can only assume that if humans would sell out their own kind to an alien race and use such an unholy alliance to gain domination over their fellow man, then they should consider the fact that they, according to universal law, must in the same way open themselves up to manipulation and control by their supposed benefactors. Thus, one can see the utter insanity of hoping to establish domination of others by petitioning the assistance of an imperialistic alien force. The human elite may think that their reptilian collectivist hosts will shower their egos with praise and rewards for their cooperation in selling out their own planet, but in reality, the draconians consider human elite as being useless weeds, as they do all humans in general, but necessary fodder in order to carry out their agenda. Mr. Hamilton continues, the underground complexes are not confined to the U.S. alone. A large underground complex operated by the U.S. exists in Pine Gap near Alice Springs, Australia. It appears that the secret societies among us have become aware of the coming planetary catastrophe and the possibility of the Earth polar shift in the near future. Surveying the Earth from space, satellites and shuttles reveal extensive damage to our ecosphere. Our planet is wobbling on its axis and its magnetic field is decaying. Ozone depletion and the greenhouse effect are rapidly endangering life on our planet. Alternatives, which include 1. Direct handling of atmospheric problems. 2. Taking shelter in underground domains. 3. Escape to other planetary bodies in the solar system have been devised in secret. However, there is a possible alternative 4, which mostly depends on the completely different idea on how to save the Earth. Bill Hamilton then explains some of the mystery surrounding the so-called hybrids who have been encountered by UFO abductees and why an actual cross between humanoids and reptoids, thank God, may never succeed. It's unlikely that a reptilian gray are crossbred with humans. Reptilians carry their sex organs internally and reproduce by eggs hatching in solar heat. Reptoids have well-developed eyes, no hair follicles, no external ear cartilage, as consistent with most reptilian species, since their means of reproduction is incompatible with our own, it is suggested that humans may be fertilized by grays by artificial insemination with human spermatozoa, and perhaps they use the human uterus as an incubation chamber. Note, other indications are that the reptilians inject or encodify the human embryo with reptilian or other DNA during the early stages of development. It's even believed that some abductees have the ability to reprogram the genetic information within the egg before it's even been fertilized. As for the so-called hybrids, Hamilton's statement seems to be confirmed by others, including abductees who have hinted that the hybrid fetus are actually alien-looking or human-appearing hybrids who are conceived through human seed taken from human male and female abductees. In other words, the fetus would fall to one species line or to another. An alien-appearing being lacking of a soul or human-like child with a soul. It is said that within the hybrid society, the more human-looking hybrids consider themselves superior to be alien-appearing hybrids. Wow, that's like kind of not makes sense, but anyway. The more human-like features are a source of pride and status, even though many of the hybrids are nevertheless servants of the gray. Some abductees have reported that they have observed experiments involving and attempted mixtures of human and cattle DNA to create hybrid being. Many of the so-called hybrids, however, are nevertheless essential human. For instance, Hybreds, or humanoid hybrids that possess crimson blood, 5 fingers, pupils, ears, and external reproductive organs, although the reproductive organs might be minimalized and non-operative. If they possessed even one of these traits, there is a chance that the hybrid might possess a human soul, although this may not always be the case, as with chameleons and so on. In such case, aura detectors, which could detect whether or not the being has a multicolored chakra system, would be possible. Fail-safe means to determine the imposters from the real thing. The Hybreds, or reptoid hybrids, would generally possess greenish blood similar to those of the grays, 4 fingers, opaque, black and or vertical slit pupils, no visible ears, and no external reproductive organisms. Huh. Alright, so last part of this, alien organisms and biological technology are tested in the upper levels at the underground biogenetic laboratory at Dulce, New Mexico. Alien genetic engineering, cloning, and cryogenic technology have been studied with a view towards enhancing human genetics, deciphering the human genome, and gaining biological advantage by artificial biological engineering, strange life forms that have been bred in these laboratories. Here's a quick one. Since these things have been here since the birth of kind of human existence, what if they are the creators of the Dogman? And there you have it, folks. I hope you all enjoyed this upload as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I'd like to thank you all for supporting this channel. It is, after all, your support that helps the channel to continue to grow and go, and what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect that we deserve. Please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, our family, and our friends. These creatures are real. These events have happened. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you all.